Here.
Wilczewski.
Here.
Readers.
Here.
Bunkhauser.
Here.
Spears.
Present.
Teeling.
Here.
Quorum is established.
Okay, before we proceed, I'd like to remind everyone that Rose is calling in today, so please speak loudly and clearly into your microphone for his benefit. Do we have any amendments to tonight's agenda? No presentations. We do have a public hearing. I will open the public hearing for PC 2013-07. A second amendment to that certain amended annexation agreement and land unit development agreement, Grand Reserve subdivision dated January 30th, 2012. Signed among Grand Reserve Chicago, ASRI, LLP owner, the Illinois Limited Liability Partnership, and the United City of Yorkville, Kendall County, Illinois, for the purpose of restating the transition fees for the school district number 115 and providing for selection at time of building permit issuance. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this annexation agreement amendment? Anyone from City Council? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing at PC 2013-07.
Thank you for coming.
Do we have any citizen comments tonight on items that are on the agenda for us tonight? Hearing no citizen comment, we will move to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Wilczewski.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Bunkhauser.
Aye.
Koch.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Kopp.
Aye.
We have no bids for approval tonight. The bills were $1,112,857.56. No mayor's report, no public works committee report, economic development committee report. Alderman Cook.
Got a motion to approve ordinance approving the Fourth Amendment redevelopment agreement for the downtown Yorkville redevelopment project area for Imperial Investments LLC and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
Actually, Ken made the motion, we need a second.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Comments or questions on this item? Yes, sir.
And this item, on EDC, I voted to bring this out to the council, not because I support it, because I thought it was an issue that needed to be discussed by the council. I do not support the amendment as drafted. There's several concerns with it, but most concerns. My biggest concern, the biggest part is this. There's a front-end payment that is due based on the bearing of the power lines that we agree, and there's a back-end payment that is due based on the bearing of the power lines that we agree. The front-end payment is restricted to the TIF funds. It's going to be made by the TIF funds. The issue I have is it's an improvement within the TIF district, and the back-end payments are not guaranteed by TIF funds. So if there's no increment in the TIF funds, there's no growth in the TIF, the taxpayers are liable for that back-end payment off the general fund. And that's where I have the problem with this agreement. I understand that the infrastructure of this agreement is 80% public and 20% private in essence. But I find that to be misleading because I believe the power lines under this agreement, there's no need for the city to bury these power lines at this time. The need to bury the power lines are the request of the developer. They're the ones who want the power lines buried. So therefore, if they're the ones who want the power lines buried and the city doesn't have a need, if we have a need, I don't have a problem sharing the cost. But we don't have a need to bury the power lines. Therefore, I think the bigger burden should be on the developer and it should be this cost. And if we are going to guarantee any payment, which I'm open to the idea of guaranteeing some payments back to the the developer, those have to be guaranteed by only TIF increments. If there's not money in the TIF, I am not for putting the general fund monies on the line to cover those costs. So I do oppose it as presented, and unless it's amended or renegotiated, I will be voting no. Thank you.
The payment is scheduled to be from the TIF. Carlos' point is that if there's not money in the TIF, we're still making the payment.
No, there isn't what this said.
The back end payment
Is from TIF fund.
No.
It says, unless I'm reading it wrong, it is the intent of the city to ultimately reimburse the
Well, I'm
dwelling.
sorry, what page are you on?
I'm sorry. Page 5, section 4, paragraph 2, A2. It is the intent of the city to ultimately reimburse the developer for 80% of the total cost of the utility line relocation project. The city agrees to reimburse the developer the difference between the total cost and the amount paid pursuant to 2 above. That's the upfront payment. Now, this is the additional reimbursement. Said additional reimbursement to be payable in 10 equal installments from that portion of the staff not otherwise obligated to the developer from incremental taxes owned by properties owned by the developer. Now, the issue is, and maybe I didn't read the cover memo closely enough, the issue is what we have been doing is reimbursing the developer solely and only from the increment generated from properties the developer owns. This additional amount will be from TIF funds only, but not necessarily from TIFs generated from his properties. The theory being exactly what you said, that this is, in the long run, a development that helps the entire TIF area so that if his properties don't produce enough, we will utilize the TIF funds from the other properties in the area to the extent TIF funds are available. So it should never be upon the taxpayers, but it should be a liability on the entire TIF area as opposed to it.
The concerns we talked about in committee, which I think we're one level beyond what you just referenced, as far as budgetary availability goes, is that we commit the pot from everything to a few different developers citywide. And, let's say 2 weeks from now we approve 5 agreements, we're going to give people $30,000 each, and there's $150,000 in the entire TIF pot. We've depleted the TIF pot, and yet we still have this obligation with Imperial Investments to make those back-end payments. And it was my interpretation that the agreement would commit us to still making those payments, whether the TIF budget had funds in it or not.
No.
And at that point, you're still coding the expense out of the TIF fund, but for all intents and purposes, the general fund is doing a short-term loan or transfer in order to make up that from a cash
That
flow
would
perspective.
be the decision of the city council. That's not the commitment we're making in this paper.
No? Okay.
Okay?
Well, I think we should clarify that. I don't know if there's a way to make it even more crystal clear.
I mean, it says the additional reimbursement, which is the amount you're talking about,
Right.
to be
Okay.
payable in 10 equal annual installments from that portion of the staff. That's the TIF fund. The staff is the TIF fund, not otherwise obligated to the developer from incremental taxes generated from all properties owned by the developer. Well, if I promise to pay you from one account and that account has a zero balance, you could choose as a city to borrow money from any other available fund, and then as TIF funds are generated, to pay it back. That is done often.
So I think I want it more firm and very clear what happens if fund money is not there, because it's not my intent to borrow money from anything to lend it to.
A
TIF. So,
temporary borrowing until the next tax bill is paid is something that isn't onerous.
But that was his specific objection in committee. And so, working with the developer, they said that they were okay with a form of a non-guarantee on the upfront payment, because, we would have to know when we approve the undergrounding, how much is in there, how much we've committed to, then the payment's going to occur relatively soon. But they said after that, you get a year into the project, and then you've got 10 years of payments afterwards. They didn't want a future city council to come along and say, well, we're going to give our money away elsewhere, even though we've already committed to this, and then they're not guaranteed payment on the back end. So we did get into that level of detail where we said, what if the fund is at zero? Should we be restricting the city council from making a decision, to do short-term borrowing between funds?
I just thought it was written, it doesn't.
yeah, I think we don't have a meeting of the minds. I think we and the developer right now have a different interpretation of what this agreement says. So before we proceed on it, I wanted to be crystal clear. As far as if the money's not there, the money's
We're
not
still
there.
waiting for a study to come back anyway, right?
We are.
So,
I don't see harm in tabling it to clarify. I do know, regardless of what the agreement actually says and how we interpret it, their position is they want to guarantee on those 10-year payments. They've said, it's unreasonable for us to approve the agreement and then not expect for us to live up to it, regardless of whether there's good funds for those 10-year payments. So
That's why I don't think we have a meeting of the month.
Yeah, we haven't seen the study yet. We don't know exactly how much it's going to cost. I'd rather not commit fully. I know this agreement allows both of us to not continue with the process. I'm a little hesitant to do it without seeing costs. It's our estimate of what the costs are going to be. And the other thing, the 80-20 split, I don't really care for that split. I think it's a little generous on the developer side. Correlated, how much is theirs, how much is ours. I think it's what they're asking for is beneficial to them more than it is to us. So for us to spend that capital out of the TIF funds, that's quite a bit of money, and I prefer it to be a little more equalized, not 50-50, but better compromise than 20. That's where I'm at. I do agree with what Carl said about that I don't want it to be something we're committing out of the general fund, as long as it's stipulated and it's clear that that's coming out of TIF funds. I'm okay with that, but I don't want to overcommit and spend what we don't have.
yes.
Just so I'm clear on this, what's the likelihood we'll have TIF funds available to pay for this?
our lowest revenue source in any one year was about $35,000. It should go up this year to about 60. In most years, it's been 70, even right after we implemented it. I mean, 10 years from now, when we have more buildings being built, we should have a lot of money to try to get committed to it in the future. So I would say, given the relatively small dollar amount, I think we had a $25 million total budget for the entire TIF when we did the eligibility study. This is probably going to end up being $200,000 or $300,000. I would say that it's relatively likely that we would have funds. And again, it's all subject to future city council discretion. Again, we could pass this, and then the next city council could come along 3 years from now and pass agreements with the new developer and put their money elsewhere.
Yes, he's right. We could then adopt your example of 5 to 30 feet, yes.
But those funds are also being used for other projects as well. So,
There's a bit of that was fortune telling, some of it was.
well, I agree with what's been said already. I do not want to see our taxpayers paying for this. And if we can guarantee it's going to come out of TIF funds, I support it, and I think this agreement needs to reflect that. And I don't think it does as of today.
I think the agreement already reflects that, but we just want to make sure that everyone understands it.
Yes.
And I think we have to add some verbiage to explain what happens if the TIF funds aren't.
Yeah.
That it's not that we're going to loan ourselves money, that it's not, well, we're going to kick it off 5 years and see if they're there. If they're not there in that 10-year window, they don't get reimbursed. I mean, I understand it's a liability on their part, but that's a liability on our part. I'm not putting the general funds up for it, plain and simple. And I just want it perfectly clear, so 10 years from now, when this is being litigated, it's not, well, we were under the impression that this meant that. I don't want any of that. I want it perfectly clear as to what our intent is today. So,
I can restate the alternative to your point.
right.
I don't know if the developer will.
They won't, because, and that's the thing, the developer wants a guarantee. So that's what we have our impasse.
At least they previously indicated to me that they would not. So whether they change that position in the future.
Sure.
Can I clarify, you said that the TIF funds, that they would be given, I guess, would be generated from their property and not others until the back end?
To date, we have only committed, it was 130 years to the general TIF.
One more time.
Okay. We have been committing to the developer a percentage of the increment derived solely from their property. So the more they develop, the more increment, the more we were able to reimburse. With regard to other properties, the city was using it for various infrastructure improvements. The 130, would that come solely from theirs?
No,
Okay.
130 would come from everybody else. This
So-
costs $250,000.
Well, I guess my problem is, I have a problem with that because this is, I'm with Carlo, this is their request, it's not a necessity. Yes, it would make the area, I just don't see other businesses should have to kick into that. You know, and then we're giving one developer all the money, I mean, he's doing a great job down there, but what if somebody else comes in and we just take all the money and give it to him to put some lines under the ground that aren't bothering anybody? That's just my take on it. I don't want to limit it from that we use all the funds out, one thing that is not a necessity. So it's, I agree with Carol on that.
I think the one fact that I keep on coming back to when we're discussing this is like, yeah, I understand. That's why I appreciate you kind of saying, what is this? Like, I totally understand all those things. The thing that I'm kind of looking at throughout the whole improvement part is that this is just the west side of 47. I'm kind of looking forward to what are we going to do with the east side of 47. And, you know, there have been a couple comments made that, okay, they've installed all this equipment, they're using a lot of electricity, things are going down, things are blowing. How do they improve that when on comments list they're so far down? We have all these issues that really can't be accomplished because, or finished, excuse me, because it's such an old part of the infrastructure that we keep on putting Band-Aids on. So what I kind of see is, okay, you got this guy that came in, redid a whole block of downtown, put in 3 to 4 restaurants and a theater, and his equipment's going down. ComEd's not getting there. Is there a way to kind of expedite the fact that the equipment over there is way too old? But also, how do we do something to benefit that one side to make that a little bit more workable, but then also learn something for the east side of 47, which needs just as much, if not a hell of a lot more work. So that's kind of where I see the benefit in it, and I understand where you're coming from is trying to capture the end, but how do we improve both sides of the street and get rid of that old equipment while at the same time, sure, doing a little bit of a favor and saying, okay, you want to underground it, whatever, it's fine, but at least the equipment will be up to date.
Kathy, is it a normal part of the development agreement, typically in other towns, not to guarantee payments from the unobligated portion of the TIF fund?
It's done both ways. What is here is not uncommon, whereas all of you seem to agree, whereas there is a benefit to the general area, even though it's on a particular owner's property or serves one property a little more, which I think is your point, Alderman Fitz, if it serves one property more than another. The other problem is that this formatting is often used where a developer can get financing but needs upfront money, and so there's instances where the economics demand use of the broader TIF base. Preference is, though, preference is always first given, as we have done here, to the increment generated solely by the developer's property. And that's what we have done today.
Anything else?
For your point, if we do expend what we have in the pool right now on the west side and right to the east side, we may not have that for a sustained amount of time until that pool builds back up. It is an old infrastructure. A lot of the demand is being put on it by the increased development that's down there. There's no way around it. The increased demand that they're building, putting in there, that directly relates to the old infrastructure. They're putting demand on it. This reinforces the fact that they're asking us for something that they need more than we need. The infrastructure was working, functional before the end. Yes, there were issues because of ComEd, but they are asking for something from us. Are we going to take the entirety of our balance that we have in the TIF funds and uncommitted TIF funds and provide that to them as a whole, or are we going to try to work on some of these other projects? We do have water mains on the east side that need to be replaced, that TIF plans that would be used, as we have other commitments and obligations out there as well. So maybe the 80/20 is something to look at there as a term. I think this is something that we should have to look at again and try to make this something more economical for our TIF district as a whole versus one development. Hopefully, in the next couple of years, they're going to be generating quite a bit with the improvements that they've done on these properties. They've done a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of increase on their TIF, hopefully. that'll mean more money coming into their pockets for their redevelopment if it all works out the way it should. And I think that's the way I would like to look at it, is using what they're reinvesting to help them redevelop and help them work on their properties. They have the lion's share of that development balance. So I'd like to see it go back for revisions on the agreements.
And I agree with that. I'd like to see it revised that that payment is also only for that property. So and then, because it's right, if everything takes off, then they'll be putting the funds in, and that will be there for them. And as for the electric, it's kind of your due diligence when you buy something, you're going to expand, you should check that out before you do it. And it's like, you know, if you buy your home or whatever. So again, it's something just for that block property. And I think to see, you know, we're trying to get that whole area to develop, and that's one block we seem to always be not letting the money into. I'd like to see it go someplace else, especially the east side.
I would like to say that I'm also in agreement with the comments made by our city council, and I would not support this amendment to the agreement as presented.
Thank you, Rose.
I have one question. I agree about the east side having funds available to it. Also, how far does the district go west of there?
It goes all the way to, I think it's
The north, is it Morgan Street? It's the furthest west road. It goes all the way to where the dead end is, on hydraulics.
So there, someday there's down the road and all the way, because I mentioned about a tap on fee at the committee meeting, and you know, if anything developed west of there, it might be a way to recoup some funds.
Sure. I'll motion to table this to the next committee meeting for further discussion.
Second. Roll call, please.
Spears,
Aye.
Colosimo,
Aye.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Milczewski, Teeling, Koch,
Aye.
Cott,
Aye.
Craters.
Aye.
Next, we're on to Public Safety Committee.
I would make a motion to approve an ordinance adopting license regulations and pawn brokers and resale dealers and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute.
Second.
Comments, questions, concerns? Alderman.
Thank you. Well, everybody knows that I don't approve of this ordinance. I think it's government tripping on itself to get people's way. It was edited from the last time, and several of the provisions that I thought would be the most appalling have been removed. I think it's a nicer version, a better version of what we have. I still find it to be inappropriate. I still find it to be cumbersome. I still find it to be unnecessary. So I will be voting no. The proof is in the pudding. We've already lost one business because of it, and I just hope that we don't lose more. I will be voting no.
Alderman Cott.
I consider this a good and a necessary ordinance. This ordinance before us is the result of compromise. We listened to our citizens, we listened to our business community. For example, the inspection clause everybody was so concerned about now was restricted specifically to assuring that the paperwork and the data entry is done. That's the limited effect of having this clause in there, is that things are done properly. They can't just go in and inspect the entire premise for no reason whatsoever. And we're also exempting coins, currency, which was a big concern early on. So I think overall, this is an ordinance that we need to pass. It's a good tool for our police department, and it protects our citizens. So I'm going to support this. First.
Yeah, I will be supporting this one. We did exempt certain parts, some of the businesses, one in particular that did left. We took a lot of their comments in. Even with the considerations, they did leave on their own, regardless of the ordinance being put in place. This is a good tool for our police department. It will be a resource for them. It's been proven. There is a lot of compromise on this. These issues have been worked through. We think it's a good ordinance as it is. Larry had mentioned this at one point, that we should work on trying to have a county-wide ordinance of this nature to help reinforce this across the entire county. So that's something that if we can work with others on that, it would be beneficial. But it's a good start, and I think our police department will use this very well.
I agree with Alderman Cott and Hauser. I think that when, I think we talked about victims' rights and, they have rights too. And so I'm glad that this has been amended and it's changed and I'll be voting yes for this.
I'll be voting yes for it, but I don't think that this was shut down because of it. I think that was just convenient hours, but I don't think that really has much to do with this. Of all the fights, you think that when you take things off for that one person, and they still choose to leave, it was just something to yell about. So I'm not worried in the slightest. Yes.
All right, then, roll call.
Spears,
Aye.
Colosimo,
Nay.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Milczewski,
Aye.
Teeling, Koch,
Aye.
Cott,
Aye.
Peters.
Aye.
Would our county board member who's in the audience like your copy of that to take with him? Okay, moving on to Administration Committee report. Alderman Spears, would you like me to read the motion?
Yes, would you please?
I'll entertain a motion to direct staff to mail a letter to each senior garbage count in the city listing the dates where the ordinance will be first read and voted on and a description of the proposed increase.
Second?
Well, okay, you made the motion, we need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Go ahead, Frank.
So this motion is basically just authorizing staff to send out letters to our senior citizens advising them that we're looking at this ordinance. Is that correct?
Correct. One thing that, go ahead, you guys talk. Go ahead.
Well, I personally think that, I understand that the ordinance modification affects only the seniors, but I think it's a citywide issue, and I think it should go out to all of them. To be honest with you, I think all residents should have an opportunity to, I would say, yea or nay, and what their opinions are, not just the seniors. So I would like to see the notice sent out to everybody in the water bill or whatever, and let everybody know we're having a public hearing, or not a public hearing, but we'll at least be discussing it at a future date, so they can come and give their opinions. So I would like to see amendments to be that it would be sent out to all residents.
Yes, that was my own point as well. You want to discuss it or make the amendment now? We can keep discussing it and make the amendment.
Is there a plan for a public hearing on this, or is it just a discussion among the council?
We're just going to advertise for this, it's not an actual public hearing, but just discussion on what we discussed, and people can come and comment.
Yeah, I agree. Both these are good ideas.
Would you like to?
I would make a motion to amend the motion to read that all residents will be sent notice by the city, not the seniors.
Second.
Okay, comments or questions on the amendment? Then roll call on the amendment.
Colosimo,
Aye.
Funkhauser,
Aye.
Milczewski,
Aye.
Teeling,
Aye.
Koch,
Aye.
Cott,
Aye.
Peters,
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Okay, any comments or further discussion on the amended motion?
I have one. Would the notice also indicate when the exact date of when this would be discussed during city council?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, roll call vote on the amended motion.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Nashewski.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Okay, on to the Plan Commission, the first item, PC 2015-04 and PC 2015-05. The annexation agreement did not make it into the packets at time of printing, so we would like to distribute those annexation agreements and table this for 2 weeks. The publisher has been notified and is agreeable to it.
The agreement itself is in your packet, the ordinance.
The ordinance, okay. So I'll give everyone 2 weeks to review the actual ordinance then. So I'll entertain a motion to table this
So
for
moved.
2 weeks.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please. Alderman Woodson.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Nashewski.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Coe.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance authorizing the execution of an amended annexation and PUD agreement and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
So moved.
Comments or questions on the Raintree Village amendment? Roll call, please.
Teeling.
Aye.
Coe.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Frieders.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Nashewski.
Aye.
No ZBA, no city council reports, city clerk's report, any community and liaison reports. There are none, any staff reports? No reports. Any additional business? Yes, ma'am.
Just a question on the closure of Bannerman. Do we have an estimate of how long that is going to be?
2018.
Actually, what we're waiting on now is there's a water sample location that's actually located in the street. So as soon as the water main passes, it's their intention to remove that at the temporary pavement. We should know that by quickly.
So hopefully,
Hopefully for the weekend.
because they still have to pave it there.
It's temporary pavement. It's not going to be
Okay.
finished road yet.
It's just a concern I had, traffic is being routed up Houston Street, and we have a lot of driveways, and we had an accident, I guess, this weekend, and I wasn't home when a neighbor just informed me, so I was just, it was gonna go on, so my neighbors know. So, it's a little dangerous to pull in and out of your drives. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is kind of pigtails into that. I thought we were not doing anything with the bridge in this project. And I see now they're really cleaning it up on what side they're working on. Did I misunderstand something there?
No, we are not. That was not part of this contract. What that was when the state had it closed, they figured no better time to take advantage of that for pouring concrete, repairing the bridge, and now so that was a separate contract. And when traffic switches over, they'll do the same thing to the other side.
So they're going to put a whole new base.
Yeah, there's an annual bridge inspection that they do, and they, while it's out of commission, they can let the county secure, and there's no, doesn't hit the traffic anyway.
What exactly are we doing here? Looks like just cutting out, replacing rebar.
Yeah, what they do is they take these chains and they snake a chain across there, and where there's a void in the concrete or a bad spot, it sounds different, it sounds hollow. So they mark that all out, they jackhammer it out, and they pour concrete patch.
The sound of those chains, those were.
Good.
My tech.
Try and true.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see about 27, they don't have to switch the bridge.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other additional business? Next time, we will adjourn, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session for litigation, litigation and employment.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Spears. Spears.
Aye.
Nashewski.
Aye.
Colosimo.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Teeling.
Aye.
Funkhauser.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Okay, we will have one action item when we return from executive session.
Rose, I'll call you for my cell phone.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, go ahead and start. I would like to reconvene the meeting right now and moving on to the continued mayor's report. Well, I would entertain a motion to approve a settlement agreement with Travelers, Weissman, Windet Ridge, and Ryland, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute.
So moved.
Second.
Comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Teeling.
Aye.
Coe.
Aye.
Cott.
Aye.
Readers.
Aye.
Spears.
Aye.
Pelosi.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
Machuski.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Do we have any citizen comments about any other items that are on your mind? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.